There's something special about strikers, isn't there? In their own way, the striker is the most important position on the footballing pitch, in that they are typically the primary goal scorer. As a wise man once said, nothing on the pitch is worth anything, unless you are putting the ball in the back of the net. This past Premier League season has been an excellent indication of the inevitability of a top-draw centre-forward, and the example that comes to mind is, of course, Erling Haaland. The Haaland disclaimer. Let me just take the time to clear up a few things about what the average Joe thinks of Man City marksman Haaland. As a Man United fan, one would expect a clear conflict of interest where Hattie Haaland, as I call him, is concerned, but AJ is a fair guy. And I reckon it's fair to say that Pep Guardiola himself probably could not have predicted just how effective the Norwegian youngster would prove in his maiden season for the Citizens. After kicking off the Premier League season with an impressive brace away to West Ham at the London Stadium, Haaland enjoyed a stellar goal-scoring campaign. That would see him rack up 52 goals in all comps, with 36 contributions in England's Premier footballing competition. This includes 6 hat-tricks, with 3 falling in back-to-back home games against Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest and Man United. That's quite literally insane numbers. Insane. He's already broken Mohamed Salah's record for most league goals in a single season, 31, and did it with games to spare. As they say on Black Twitter, this guy ate and left no crumbs. He's established himself as arguably the most proficient goalscorer in the country at the first time of asking, dispatched the allegations of Bundesliga tax in spectacular fashion, and silenced haters up and down the country, who alleged that he would be anything short of electrifying. Still, there are those who try to discredit him. A great goalscorer, not a great footballer. I'm sure everyone's familiar with this theory. Let me just clarify, I don't agree, but I suppose I understand the school of thought. Haaland has a very specific game. There have been games this season where the striker has spent time isolated, caught between the opposition centre-halves, and starved of touches of the ball. What makes Haaland so dangerous is his efficiency. He doesn't need to be as involved in the game as other players in order to cause an equal, or even more, amount of damage. Haaland's profile is scary 6'4", 13.5 stone, an absolute unit. He's electric off the mark, with I believe only Darwin Núñez and Mykhailo Mudryk being quicker than him. The lethality of his pace, and more importantly, his stride are matched only by that of his positioning and ability to time his runs. These qualities present one hell of a problem for you as a centre-half tasked with marking the Viking, because it keeps you pinned. Where he goes, you have to go, because he cannot be allowed to escape his marker, not with the likes of De Bruyne on delivery. Defenders typically choose one of 2 approaches to marshal Erling Haaland, neither of which have proven reliable this season. Either get tight to him, and attempt to either discourage his teammates from feeding him, or to disturb his receipt of the ball when the pass does come. We saw Antonio Rudiger employing this method when Madrid clashed Man City at the Bernabeu. The problem with this is Haaland is so athletic that getting tight to him enables him to use his strength against players, either to roll them all together or simply to separate them from the ball long enough to eliminate them from the game. Again, a good example of this is the duel between Haaland and Arsenal's Rob Holding, moments before Kevin De Bruyne's opener at the Etihad in April. The second method that defenders use to attempt to ice Haaland out of the game is by standing off him and attempting to cut out service into him. While this can be effective because prevention is better than cure, preventing the likes of Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva and Jack Grealish from finding their man is easier said than done. With the resources at his disposal, Haaland is a player capable of causing problems for the best sides out there, get this. While seemingly doing nothing, inside the penalty box, he causes mayhem as he draws defenders to him like moss to a flame, leaving ample space for other players to have attempts on goal. Finally, his arguably most dangerous quality is that he is rarely wasteful in front of goal. He gets his contact, he gets it on target, he wins crosses in the air, he's simply a lethal finisher from 20 yards or fewer. To the untrained eye, all he does is camp in the box and tap it home. But if you watch this fella, you'll see that he is almost the perfect striker. If he learns to drop off, pick up the ball, start dribbling, dropping his shoulder, he'll literally be Zlatan on steroids. So there it is, EJ's rudimentary analysis of Erling Haaland as a striker. Top spec, centre forward. Now let's meet the competition. Hurricane Harry. Harry Edward Kane MBE is perhaps the closest thing to a complete centre-forward that exists in the world of football today. His goal-scoring numbers are exemplary, his playmaking is sublime, he's an aerial threat, a clinical set-piece taker, he has everything that you want a striker to have in his locker. The most remarkable thing about Harry Kane, however, isn't even his ability as a striker. It's that he hasn't won a trophy yet. The guy is pushing 30, has been one of the Premier League's leading scorers for years, and is even eyeing up Alan Shearer's record as top Premier League scorer of all time, but has yet to lift a major honour in the game of football to date. Some regard this as the biggest crime of the modern sport, others regard this as proof that Harry Kane is little more than a choke artist who stat pads in dead rubbers, and fails to show up when it's crunch time. What does AJ think? Well, first, let's look at how Kane's game differs from Haaland's. The complete centre-forward. It wasn't really until Jose Mourinho rocked up at Tottenham Hotspur that people began to see Harry Kane's potential as, I believe, the closest player in the league to Kevin De Bruyne. This is where Jose puts to shame the rumours that he's only a park the bus and inshallah type of manager. Mourinho recognised Kane's vision, his eye for a pass, his ability to fall between the lines, and make the team that much more dangerous. Under former Spurs coaches, notoriously Mauricio Pochettino, Kane proved his mettle as an elite goalscorer. In the 2021 Premier League season, Harry Kane not only won the award for top goalscorer, but also the award for best playmaker, after recording the most assists in the league too. Kane is a player that simply guarantees goals, seemingly irrespective of the players that surround him. In an average Spurs side that has underperformed and overachieved year after year, scraping top 4 and top 6 finishes when they could easily be well below bottom half, Kane's goals have been the one shining light. Kane approaching or outright breaking the 20 league goal barrier has, over the years, become a certainty to be ranked up there with death and taxes. It's not a matter of if he's going to get the goals, it's when he's going to get them. This season, Kane enjoyed one of his best campaigns to date, scoring 30 Premier League goals in a dysfunctional Spurs side that waved 3 managers out of the door. It's difficult to compare a player like him to a player like Erling Haaland. Haaland is a fantastic goalscorer, and if you use the Norwegian kid as your point of reference for what a striker is, you will be very confused when you watch Kane for the first time, and see this guy hitting 70-yard pinges from right back or putting free kicks top bins. The choke artist. Kane's quality is well known. What's less of a sure bet is his ability to impact the big games, when they count for Tottenham. Harry Kane has played in 3 cup finals for club and country, failing to register a shot on target in any of them. This alarming stat, along with his lack of trophies, provides the precedent for fans to speculate whether he is a player that's capable of showing up in the biggest moments, as all greats must. But must they? Sounds like a silly question, but it's not. Tottenham Hotspur in the last decade have proven to be a side seemingly incapable of winning silverware for whatever reason. Former Spurs player Gareth Bale departed for Real Madrid in 2013, where he became one of the most prolific winners in European football, and the first time he went trophyless since departing Spurs was the season that he returned to Spurs. Bale isn't the only example. Let's talk about Thierry Henry. Regarded by many as the finest footballer to play in the Premier League at his peak, but failed to score in any finals for Arsenal, including the Champions League final. What he did have was a team with the capability to win the league. Mohamed Salah is no different. The Egyptian is yet to score in an English Cup final for Liverpool, with his only final contribution being a penalty in the UCL final against Spurs. For contrast, Jesse Lingard has scored more times in English Cup finals than Salah. Similarly, Erling Haaland, while racking up a ridiculous tally of goals this season, hasn't exactly broken the box office in big games. City won a treble this season, providing a healthy sample size of finals and semi-finals, with which to analyse Erling Haaland's performances in these games, and the Norwegian point man has failed to bag a goal in either semi-final and either final. Nor has he successfully lifted silverware with his international side. You see what I'm getting at? It feels a bit fraudulent the way we give leeway to other players based upon the resources that they have, and yet we expect Harry Kane to win trophies with a group of players that make failures out of serial winners Gareth Bale, Jose Mourinho, Antonio Conte, to name a few. In terms of being a goalscorer, Harry Kane is only 6 goals behind Haaland this season, despite playing for a treble-less side. In terms of centre-forward play passing, playmaking, bringing his strike partners into the game, creating chances for others, he clears Erling Haaland. In terms of set pieces, he just as clinical penalties, even free kicks as well. When the last time you saw Haaland score a free kick? Scoring in the air, scoring from distance, Kane has all of this on lock. He's got everything on lock, and deep down, everyone knows he would win trophies for a top side. Jose Mourinho knows he's a top player. Pep Guardiola knows he's a top player. Take into account his skill set, take into account the things that he's good at, take into account his performances, and one realizes there isn't a team in European football that Harry Kane does not start for.